Welcome to day 19, and today we're going to talk about troubleshooting. And I want to be super clear in this video that I'm about to show you 3 distinct ways that AI can help you troubleshoot pretty much any problem that you have in your life, whether that's local, physical, in your home, working on a computer, or deep inside of technology like doing programming or any of the vibe coding or anything like that. So stick around today because I'm going to give you a bunch of frameworks that you can use right away to get rid of spending hours trying to Google your problem and have a buddy, a robot, who will help you run through this kind of stuff in real time. So let's get to it. Let's get you future-proof. All right, quick reminder, if you haven't watched the intro video for the series, links are down below. Highly recommend you start there. You're jumping in on day 19, you're gonna get what you get. So let's set the scene on this one and let's go to the highest level that we possibly can, just like we always do. And we're gonna say, what would a human need in order to solve this problem? When it comes to troubleshooting, there are a lot of schools of thought about this. I'm going to give you my very opinionated framework on this, having been in tech in a variety of places, from deserts and jungles and ships when I was in the military building data centers, all the way through to like working at Google, okay? First, what are you trying to do? This is the most important thing that anyone would need in order to help you troubleshoot. If you're like, I'm having a problem with this hammer, I'm like, cool, are you trying to drive in nails, or are you trying to like make a hole in the wall, right? And 1,000 other things in between. And then, what is the stack? And I'm going to use that word a couple times throughout today's lesson, and today's going to be one of the longer lessons, sorry. But like, what's the stack? If you're doing technical stuff, cool. Are you on Mac? Are you on Windows? What versions of software are you doing? If you're doing physical things like, when was the house built? How old is the plumbing? Have you replaced this thing yet? Like all those sorts of things of like, explain to me what you're working with as much detail as you can quickly. And then what exactly is the problem? And show is way better than tell when it comes to these sorts of things, okay? Like if you have a picture or a video, or you can somehow take a screenshot of the problem and dump that into the AI tool, that is massive, okay? That's gonna give tons of context, and I'm about to show you some of that in real time. And then also, what have you tried already? Because I cannot stress this enough. If you're like, hey, I've already turned it off and on again, don't tell me that. Cool, because it will start with the basics on you, okay? And then as we get into prompting, just like we always do, I want to form this thought in your mind, right? We're going to give it a prompt and we're going to give it a problem, but we're also going to give it images, and we also might give it a screen share. We'll show you exactly how that works in a couple different cool tools that are totally free. All right, RGCOA, prompt framework for troubleshooting. Yes, you can use this, but for today, just going to throw this out there to you, and you follow the same format as always. I have a troubleshooting format because sometimes you're Ricky Bobby and you just want to go fast, okay? Speed is critical when you're troubleshooting. You don't want to spend 5 minutes crafting a prompt when you can just like be Googling that problem. So keep it simple, and I've got a different acronym for you. It's PEPPA. I figured that out this morning. What's the project you're working on? What's the environment you're interacting with? What's the actual problem? And try to give proof. Show your receipts. A picture will work better than your text. And then tell it what you tried and ask it for help. So project, environment, problem, proof, what you tried, ask for help, okay? That's the key elements that we are gonna go through today. So let's start with some demos if we can. So let's just say, and I'm gonna do a lot of voice to text in this session. I'm gonna be moving around for a bunch of tools. Just bear with me and hang out because this will be cool. We're gonna start with non-tech. First off, okay? Let's just say we have a problem in our home and we wanna do something about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just click the dictate button here in this temporary chat. I'm gonna allow. Hey there, I have a plumbing problem in my home that I really want to try and get figured out. Every time I turn my faucets on or the showers on, I get a burst of high pressure that comes out, and then the water pressure goes back to normal, and it's a little strange. It's only been happening for a couple weeks, and I'm trying to figure out what the problem might be. Do you think you could help? Okay, now, gave it the problem, gave it the background information. I didn't tell it much about my home, but we'll see what's going to happen with that, like age and the environment I'm working with. Plumbing kind of gives it a level set of what's happening. And then again, do you think that you could help? So let's see. Absolutely, I can help with what you're describing. Sudden burst, water hammer or air in the pipes, a faulty pressure regulating valve, thermal expansion of my water heater, check valves or backflow preventers, municipal water pure storage. All right, a bunch of stuff that this could be. And so you kind of just start walking down this. Again, water hammer, air in the pipe, shut off your water main, open all the faucets, let the water drain out, turn the main on, blah, blah. There's lots that could be happening here. But you see where this will start to walk you down a scenario. whenever I'm messing with anything in a home, I'm always like, electrical and plumbing scares me, so I want to check this stuff out. But they're also super expensive in some things you can do on your own. If you need to replace a whole shower, yeah, call a plumber. But if you're just like turn a pipe on, adjust a screw, turn a pipe off, yeah, don't pay hundreds of dollars for that. That sounds really terrible. Get this stuff to help you with it. So that's kind of showing you the non-tech. But let's take this up one quick level. So I'm going to upload a photo. And this photo is going to be from our 30 Days of AI, and we're going to upload this photo. This is a photo of what the problem actually was. And I'm going to say, could this be the problem? So this is a picture of a pressure regulating system inside of a home, okay? This is a water heater setup and an expansion tank. So this expansion tank is what failed in my home. So, hey, you have an expansion tank. This is good. Here's how you can check it step by step. Turn off the cold, relieve the pressure, check the air pressure, compare the reading. Did all those things. Mine was terrible. I've since replaced it. But you can just use this. It looked at that image in real time and said, yep, I see what that is. That could be a culprit. Now, was that up here? No, because this is like kind of, I guess, a rare thing to have in homes. Or I don't know, I'm not a plumber, but you get the idea. This is how you start doing this. Your phone has the ability to take a picture and upload it to any AI tool that fast. And trust me, it will help dramatically. You have a garden in your backyard and there's some sort of like fungus or something growing on the leaves. Take a picture of the leaves and say, what is this? Image is powerful. And if you're going to use image, a reminder, Gemini is the best, in my opinion, image processing large language model. So if you've got anything where you need to process images, use Gemini. Highly recommend that. Okay, now let's take this to another example. So we're going to open up a new window. We're going to go back to temporary chat. And what we're going to say now is let's do something a little bit more advanced. So I'm going to switch, and for a few seconds here, I'm going to show you a little bit behind the scenes. So what I've done is this is my entire desktop setup that you're seeing right now. And I've got a terminal window down here, which I've blown the font up. I've got my ChatGPT window. I got the visuals that I show you over here. And then I've opened up Google's AI Studio. If you have ever used Gemini and think it's awesome, cool, you should be checking out AI Studio. The feature sets in here are out of this world. The ability to control everything over here on the side is super amazing and awesome. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade my the model that I'm using to 2.5 Flash native preview audio. Perfect. Let's just do that. That sounds great. And then you can add anything else in here that you want, but I'm not really needing anything else. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the screen share button at the bottom. It's very hidden, doesn't really talk about much. I'm going to give it my entire screen for a quick second. And now it's listening and I can say, hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. How can I help you?
That's awesome. So I'm running into a problem where my mouse cursor is moving really slowly on my screen, and I want to go ahead and increase the speed of that mouse cursor, but I'm used to using Windows systems and I don't know where to go inside the settings to actually adjust that mouse cursor speed. Can you help walk me click by click through what I need to do on this Mac Mini that I'm currently running on and help me figure this out?
Sure, I can help you with that. First, please click on the Apple icon in the top left corner of your screen.
Awesome, I've done that. Now what?
Next, click on System Settings from the drop-down menu.
Okay, a new window opened up. What do I do now?
In the System Settings window, scroll down on the left-hand side until you find the option for mouse, and then click on it.
Awesome. I don't really see it on the screen right now, but do you see it anywhere? Can you help describe where that is?
Yes, I can see it. It's located in the middle of the left-hand sidebar, just below Displays and above Keyboard. It has a computer mouse icon next to it.
Okay, that's not where I see it, but I do see it at the bottom there. So I'm going to click on that. So I've clicked on mouse. Now what do I do?
Great! Now in the mouse settings, you should see a slider for tracking speed. Click and drag that slider to the right to increase the mouse cursor speed.
Okay, and there I'm going to stop sharing that screen so you can see what's up, and I'll pull back to full. So I want to be clear. We just had an AI look at the screen along with me and walk me through click by click what I needed to do to accomplish something on my screen. And I can't stress enough to everyone watching this right now, this works with just about anything that you can have on your screen. Let's go ahead and take all the nightmarish Big Brother security stuff, box that up, and put that over here for just a quick second, and talk about how awesome this is. You can open up any website. You can open up any tool. You can open up any software. And if it can see it on the screen, it will go to its training data or go to the website, because these all now have the ability to go out and browse the web, read the documentation, and it will help you in real time figure out what you need to do. You're working inside of Salesforce or video editing software or whatever it is, and you're like, hey, I just don't know how to do this one very specific thing. Yes, you can go out to YouTube and spend a bunch of time figuring this out, or you can just click that button and share the screen, and it's ready to rock and roll. That AI Studio screen recorder interface, and again, I'm using my workspace account with the highest level of security, so like, you know, your mileage may vary, etc. That is ultra power from a troubleshooting perspective. So let's say that we want to do something really interesting. Let's go back and get more technical now. We're going to get super nerdy for just a quick second so I can show you how this works, and if my estimate is correct here, how it's not going to work. So let's go back to the full picture of the world. And let's just say we want to do something really nerdy, everybody. We want to install a new library with Python. If you have no idea what I just said, that's cool. Just bear with me for a second. So I'm going to do this command called pip install. And normally what I would do is requests, but I'm going to get rid of the E. So it's going to be requests, or however you want to pronounce that. Pip install request. I'm going to hit enter. That's going to give me an error. So wait, let's do this again. I'm going to recycle right here, and I'm going to go back to screen share. I'm going to give it the whole screen. Hey there, can you see the terminal window that I'm sharing you with right now?
Yes, I can see the terminal window.
Okay.
It shows an error message related to installing Python packages.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I tried to install this package for requests, which is a really common package, but I'm getting a strange error. Can you help me figure out what's wrong?
It looks like your system can't find a version of the requests package that's compatible with your current Python environment. This could be due to an old dated pip version, a problem with your Python environment, or network issues preventing access to the package repositories.
Okay.
You might try updating pip, checking your internet connection, or verifying that your Python environment is set up correctly.
Okay, I appreciate the help troubleshooting this, but it looks like something might be misspelled. Can you identify that?
Ah, yes, you're right. I see the command now. It seems there's a typo in the package name. It should be requests with a Q instead of a C. The correct command should be pip install requests.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this for just a quick second. So let's talk about the crazy hallucinations and weird stuff that just happened there. So it told me that this was spelled wrong. And when I ran this demo earlier, it told me all kinds of, it told me install was spelled wrong, all this kind of stuff. And I had to seed it because it did not catch that. And it kept wanting me to get really nerdy with this. And so I'm giving this to you as a word of caution, okay? If you couldn't tell from the size of this font, the E in requests is missing. So I would need to add that E back in. But it was really, really bad at figuring that out. So let's switch this up just a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot of this error, okay? And I'm going to come back down and I'm going to switch you so you can see this a little bigger, and we're going to go to ChatGPT and we're going to do the thing again, okay? Now, I'm going to voice this in so that we can see it one more time. I'm trying to install a Python library called requests using pip on my Mac Mini and using the terminal to install this. I have tried to use the pip install requests command, and it's giving me an error that I don't understand. I'm including a screenshot of that error for you to see. I haven't really tried anything else, and let me know if there's anything else I can give you to help you with this and see if you can help me figure out what's wrong. So again, it's dictating that. That's the cheat code to kind of do this. You can also install libraries that do this for you, but whatever. I'm going to go ahead and just add files or photos. I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to add that latest screenshot, which has that error message just like I just showed you. Again, I just took a screenshot of that error message in red right there. A screenshot, 2 seconds, and I'm jumping back over, and I'm feeding that ChatGPT. Let's see what ChatGPT says, okay? This is 4.0. This isn't even the latest model for them. Like 4.5 has been out for a while. All right, thanks. Here's the thing. Okay, so here's the deal again. Requests is missing. So, okay, quick couple things here. This is where you always have to be the human in the loop. Always. Like, I'm so glad this is messing up this way because this is a great learning experience for everyone watching this right now. Check this out. I'm going to go back over so you can see this. And I'm just going to I'm going to drag this over and you'll be able to see it a little clearer here. Here's the error message, okay? Notice how request right here is spelled R-E-Q-U-S-T-S. It's missing the E after the U in request. So I uploaded that exact screenshot. I'm not trying to, lead this thing astray. And it says, hey, you misspelled requests. That is true. But it showed that I had the U, or I'm sorry, it was missing the U, but had the E. So it said, hey, you're missing a U. The correct name is blah, blah, blah. Now, it does give me the correct name. So it found the problem and it knows how to fix it, but the way that it told me how to fix it was a little bit backwards, okay? But you see how this figured it out right away. And this is again where you got to know your tool chains, okay? An interactive agent like that is processing a lot of information. And the reason that I showed you this full screen is I'm overloading it with stimulus. If I just switch it down and only use like just that window instead, I bet I get a slightly better experience. But also, maybe that's not the right tool for the job. If you're troubleshooting code, take a screenshot, copy that error message and dump it in. You want to interact with text when text is the interactive medium. Okay, that was kind of a bunch of stuff, okay? But I want you to think through all the different ways that you can get more advanced with this and level this process up. And the first and foremost that I got to tell you, you got to practice this, okay? If your default used to be to go to Google and let me Google that for you or whatever and type it all in, yeah, you're not really gonna, like that can still work, but it's gonna take a lot of time. I want you to switch that to talking to an AI tool to help you troubleshoot those things, all right? Because again, you can give it more nuance and more context than you ever could at any other time in the history of humanity, and it will laser in on what you need. The screenshot is massive. If you're doing any kind of software development, if you're doing any kind of spreadsheet management, take a screenshot and upload the problem. That is the best way to have it know exactly what you are trying to do and showing it exactly where the bugs and the errors are. So do that. Again, use voice mode and use that phone to take imagery as much as possible. It will massively simplify your ability to do things. If you have kids and they have questions about crazy stuff, you could do the same thing. Show me a picture of an alligator or whatever. You can say, hey, here's this. Can I run a science project or a science experiment with it? There's so much you can do by just having the AI tool and a camera to be able to upload imagery. Next, integrate this into your workflows. Like, have a window up like this all the time. Have an AI Studio bookmarked on your taskbar so that you can pop that thing up really quick and go, hey, can you help me with this? And again, they are not perfect, but this capability has gone like leaps and bounds better in the last few months. I'm using this more and more. It used to be just a joke. I would log in and it would just kind of freak out and hallucinate and do all the crazy stuff, but now it's pretty awesome. So I hope that this has been informative for you. If you want to learn a whole lot more about how to troubleshoot with this stuff, and we walk through a bunch of different scenarios like this in our community and in our AI training, links are all down below. The prompts that I talked about today, that PEPPA acronym in the prompt document, it is down below. Go ahead and grab it. It is 100% free. And look, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I answer every single one. I'm excited to get to the next phase of this because we are going to start talking about setting goals. We're going to start talking about how we can use AI to start helping us with internal planning, with prepping for mental health, with doing all kinds of stuff where you can get an objective third party to interact with you about what you're doing throughout your day. It's good, it's scary, but it's also like a really important capability to understand. So I'll see you tomorrow for day 20.